Hello, this is Sabrina from Piedra Luna Tarot 808 with the zodiac reading for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, as well as Aquarius for the collective and on regards to, well, Aquarius is a very social of innovation, of technology. It has to do a lot with the internet. Um, it has to do a lot with humanitarian causes. So in a way, it has the connection of communication along with being humanitarian, as well as being a card, a sign, um, with a myriad of perspectives. But for on the way the message that I'm receiving for September for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, 2022, has to do with the following. And I keep shuffling the cards and I keep getting the same similar energy for anybody who's got Aquarius strongly on their chart, or just the collective as well. We have here with the dice, the astrological dice, we have the 10th, we have here Mercury, and here we have Uranus, which is of course in it along with Aquarius sign, so very strongly being represented here. And that's of course about innovation and communication, along especially with Mercury, that there's innovations or communication or energy of communication, and there's completion. So there's, with this, I feel there's a strong transformation because of Uranus and Aquarius, which are innovators of and completions of the way we used to approach certain things in a logical way regarding our philosophies. And I'll say exactly on regards to what philosophies in regards to humanitarian ways to connect. So we might see that on the internet of more like a movement of more being of humanitarian, of giving to others, of community, of realizing that there's differences and struggles right now with the recession and how much we need each other as a community. I feel that's going to be from now, today is the 18th, from onwards to September and entering October. There's going to be energies of that, how we can strengthen each other through the internet, and that it's going to be like a strong influence that we're going to see. And with 69, with Cancer, which has a lot of humanitarian, motherly, compassionate energy, I feel that's where the energy is leading to. So I'm going to start with the first energies. No, these were the first. Here with the poker cards. Garfield, we're kind of cheeky. We have the Five of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. For me, this energy is that, of course, we are going through difficult times as a collective with the economy as well. And of course, the economy is so connected with the internet and our communication. We know it well that even recessions or drops in the market, in the stock market, can be influenced just by what the newspapers are saying, just by, it's called, the word escapes me, by speculation. And that just speculation alone can change markets very strongly. So I feel that energy of the market, the stock market and the economy coming through for Aquarius, that there's going to be, because things are not, this is for the collective, and maybe in your special case Aquarius as well, because finances are not as well, and because a recession is coming in, and that's of course what everybody's thinking about because it's all over the news. There's going to be innovation energy. There's going to be searches, investigations on how we can make the best out of this time, how we can transcend and find opportunities. But also there's an energy of the tarot, and here's where the spiritual part is, of being careful. And I had a reading for a reading that I had for an Aquarius today, that I made today, and I had this similar energy of being mindful that because we're going through difficult times, because the economy is in a recession, and because I feel strongly the energy of compassion, of the humanitarian, and because of the astrological dice, and as well as the movements that I can, even that anybody can see on the internet, that there's a calling not to fall on that lack or fear mentality, where we might eventually close ourselves up to even opportunities of new things that we might be feeling because of how everything's tense. And of course the news are making us even more tense as a collective in a very Aquarian level, and that Aquarian energy is intensified for all of us. So it's a lot of thinking, it's about rational thoughts, but as well it can become very burdensome if it's taken to extremes, in the sense that we can become the wounded warrior, and we might be on taking opportunities, or we might have like help from the universe, or help from good advice that we receive, and we just bump it out like in a way that you're being reactive, or that we're being reactive, or that we're taking things to extreme. And I see that bit of the polarity in something as simple as having representation, like the Little Mermaid being of color, and of people reacting in a negative way, instead of seeing it as something of to be happy about the diversity, and that there's all of us, we add to the melting pot that is humanity, and each of us brings our own innovation, and from that innovation more innovation is brought into the table. So it's a calling not to close ourselves in fear, because things might be we might feel that lack mentality, so we might close ourselves to opportunities that could come as an aid, especially during times where it feels things are constricted. Because somehow the universe has an energy of balancing up things. So if we have a negative energy going on right now, like we can feel it. I don't know if you guys have felt it, like the week before, especially when there's solar storms. If you check out when there's solar storms, you could check if they're affecting you. I feel them before I see it in the news. I feel like this oppression. I feel so tired. I feel people are more aggressive, or like all negative energies are being intensified, and like you have trouble concentrating. And usually it's around the time when there's the solar storms are happening. And it makes sense that solar storms actually change. They can actually knock down satellites, imagine. So they change, or they have a strength on the gravitational magnetic force of the planet. So yes, of course, they're affecting us. So here we have the sun doing, of course, making itself be heard with the solar storms. And we have here the Four of Pentacles, which is also this energy that I've been feeling from Aquarius, like being that you want to be protective, or like, and everybody as a collective, of course, all of us, that in times of trouble we might be closing down, we might be shelling up, like a thing that Cancer does, to not feel vulnerable. But I feel strongly a calling to move from that energy of the Four of Pentacles, which is withholding the energy, to shining bright, to understanding that if the sun is shining bright on all of us, there's going to be more expansion of the energy. There's going to be actually a better economy even, right? And that we are moving from, and I have this card of moving from the Four of Pentacles to the Three of Cups, of more of working in groups, working in communities, in finding strength in our numbers, in our soul tribe. And of course, not everybody's also our soul tribe for different reasons, because we have different notions or different approaches, and that's perfectly fine. But it's about finding that kindredness, instead of going to our own caves and isolating, or finding threats in everything that is not us, or on the other, which is different than us. Finding what makes us unique, and what makes us actually better and stronger as a group. And also I felt that as well with these cards, with the Ace of Cups and the Seven of Cups. Ace of Cups upside down, and the Seven of Cups, that we might actually, both of them are upside down, that there's a calling, or there are opportunities in the air in moments like this. And even a lot of the economists are talking about that. There's, of course, not that it's easier to make a business, or it's easier than in other times, but there's always opportunities even in times of struggle. So not to focus, like if things are not going well, that like to tint everything in that negative kind of vibe. And to know also, if for the collective, that this is a time more than ever where we need more acts of service, more compassion towards others, more bringing more joy into other people, more of balancing of our emotions, being more in the unconditional love, and being discerning that with our actions we're aligning to that energy because of what we're going on as a collective. And in the sense of a humanitarian level, and thinking of this in a rational way, the best we can do during troubled times is try to align more with things that are where we see good examples in how to behave in difficult times, where we see, okay, there's struggle going on, but then we go see the news and we see that people are there helping those that are in need. And maybe you cannot help with like a doctor, maybe you cannot help like a fireman, maybe you cannot help like I don't know, like a leader in your community. But we are all able to raise our vibrations when we see the opportunity, and this is a time of that. And also I'm getting this energy of let's see, which one first? This one with the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Swords, of knowing that because we're going through, and this is like in the like a Gaia energy, like Mother Earth, because it's the Queen of Pentacles, and Pentacles is the Earth energy, that not what it says, but just the energy in this one doesn't. Well, yeah, I guess it does. For there to be compassion, where there's actually where you know you're doing better and you're able to help those that are not doing as well, and also to understand that there's, even if you're doing well, and during these times and difficult times, there's things that you need to heal in yourself, for your own betterment, that on the sense of rising up to the occasion when we see the example of others behaving in a way that leads the way to a better community, a better tomorrow, and of that this might be times where more than ever, because everybody's so stressed, we might be called like a mother to know that okay, your kids might be behaving like terribly when they come from school, but you also know that they're having a lot of stress in school, that there's a lot of problems going on, and especially if you're in the US. I mean, it's such a hard thing for kids to be stressed just by the fact of going to school. So it's about maybe that stepping forward to the table of even if we're all stressed, to be kinder, to understand the healing that others need to do as well. And in that kindness, even when we find it more difficult to give of that kindness, maybe you are a mother, you come from work, or you're work at home mother, and you had a very stressful day, and then your kids are acting up, but then you remind yourself, or thankfully you are reminded by the universe that they're also going through very stressful times, and just to extend a bit more compassion when we can, whenever it's possible for us, because these are difficult times and we all need of each other, especially riding that Aquarian energy and with the Six of Pentacles, that in the day-to-day things, regardless of the photo here, on the day-to-day things, we can extend ourselves a bit more, and in how we can uplift the energy of others, how we can make our the the current situation, because it feels heavy, right, for everybody. In that, even with I hate Mondays, that it's a calling to try to do also our daily chores or our day-to-day life, trying to put a bit more compassion into it, into seeing things from a different perspective, from a different angle, about others that might not be at your level, regardless of their mind state, or because they feel vulnerable for whatever other reason, and that you can extend yourself a bit. It's a calling for that, for us to approach that energy a bit more. Here I have again with the Seven of Cups and the King of Pentacles upside down, that we're going to be given lessons during September as a collective, and as well as the Sun, Moon, and Rising in Aquarius, of opportunities of discernment, and that there's like a calling, because they're upside down in reverse, of being careful not to miss opportunities, that there could be great opportunities if we have good discernment, so there's no more unnecessary loss of finances, especially because of the times we're going through. And here again, I have that same energy with these cards, which I have the upside down, the Pentacles, which is opportunities for abundance, for stability, for that we might not, and here with the Four of Cups, not to lose our opportunities, great opportunities that might come along, and that might come along from, well, they're in the reverse, you already saw them in reverse, but there's such a great photo drawings, and I love the colors that, I mean, it's worth seeing them up close and upright, of that there's gifts, there's hidden gifts in our communities. And here with the Ten of Cups, is not the usual family setting, but it's more like the community, that there's opportunities for the betterment of the economy, even if we work as a whole. I think there's also going to be a movement online, I feel, of people uniting to make the economy flourish. It's going to be in a very innovative way, in a very Aquarius way. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I feel that's a possibility, because there's going to be a reasoning. Okay, if as a whole we can change the stock market just by speculation, and just by the fear of people, just when the word inflation hits the newspapers, I mean, it already changes the actual numbers on the stock market. So, and even just by people being fearful of using their money, like what we're seeing right now, is that the recession is happening as well, because people are being more careful how they use their coins. And of course, in that sense, they also make the economy go even to decline even more, because there's no movement of money, and for good reason. People are not using it for tourism, they're not using it for things that they don't find necessary, and actually those things that one thinks are not necessary are things that keep the economy going, from makeup to anything that is social. There's a lot of businesses and people that have to do with things that are not just like food and electricity, but because of when things get rough, there's a actual collapse and a recession of the spending of people, which of course makes sense. You're going to be careful with how you use your money, but because it's so generalized and it happens all at once, then of course it causes even more negative effects on the economy, like in 1930. So I feel there's going to be like a movement and an analysis of that in the economy, how it has happened before, and that there could be a movement, like a social movement, like if crypto coins can make so many movements in the world economical, why not do it in a humanitarian way, or in a way where actually it's with more control, and where there's actually in a compassionate way, where there's more beneficiaries, where the people that need more are getting a benefit out of that, like in a, yeah, like in a socialist manner in a way, but like a smarter manner. I feel that could be very possible, and that would be beautiful, right, if it happened as well. Here with the last energy for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for September 2022, and for the collective as well, for the news that we're going to be seeing on the internet, because Aquarius has to do with that as well. With the King of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, I feel there could be, of course, energies of conflict, but what, and of, but especially that conflict is going to come from a place of insecurity, from a place of in the collective of people reacting up because they're stressed and they feel that anything is taken as an aggression. But there's a calling, and maybe this is for an Aquarius thing, or just in the collective, or for us to remind us when we see things that are trigger us, to remind ourselves that we're going through moments where a lot of people are in the wounded warrior energy and they're being reactive, and to try to understand them from that sense of that position, from that compassion, that they're maybe not managing their emotions well, and to have more compassion towards them. Maybe this has to do that you have kids and you're seeing this, you're seeing them being more reactive, and instead of responding in a negative way, you know that just because they're reacting doesn't mean that you lost your power, doesn't mean that things are totally out of control. It just means that it's an outburst of energy. And of course, to take a king position with a King of Wands, to put things in order, but not to be triggered by that, because you're the King of Wands, and you're more involved than that, of course, and you know better. And you know as well that you don't need to overreact in the sense that to be aggressive or anything, because a lion doesn't need to roar to make his point that he's a lion. He's just a lion, just like the truth. I feel this sense of what I was saying, of the internet getting together, like in a collective, like a movement, like a great idea that picks up like fire, on regards to more of uniting as a group, and of having a weight or a coercive power on the economy, and of a healing as a collective with the Four of Swords, which is about healing, that of how we invest our money, how money is made, what labor is, how like all the implications of labor, and how this might be something on the long term. This might not be something that they're going to get united and like it's going to change the economy like from one day to another. But I feel it's going to be long lasting. It's going to have like a lasting effect at least. So maybe it's going to sound too good to be true at the beginning, but it is actually going to be a healing way to change the way fortunes are made, or the way the money is managed, or the economies are managed on the long term, where actually it is structured in a way with this movement, whereas then really going out on a limb on this prediction, but where it starts to build slowly, and to actually change, and to be a movement by itself, a solid movement that's going to be going to have solidity in time. And here with the Three of Cups and the Emperor for the last energies, I feel that again is going to be a movement or a collaboration of like the collective are going to have more energy, are going to englobe the energy of the Emperor. Like as a collective, there's going to be a possibility with of, and this is as individually as well, as if you're going through trials and tribulations, and you might need a group, or whatever you're going through. Maybe this is what you need. You need like in a collective, or to get involved in a collective. Maybe this could be like an institution or a group of like help of like groups, therapy groups, or where you're gonna see a different way to lead, where actually there's more equality, and where the power is with all the people and not only with the emperor. And also for not at the collective, but I feel there's in these groups, if there's good chances of, if you join any kind of group or find a kindred spirit, and I feel there's good chances of if not collaborations, but not, I wasn't feeling like collaborations here at the end, because I think already with the thing is going to be like a community energy. But what I feel as well is that in that community energy, there's great chances of actually meeting, of romance, of coupling, of finding someone that is kindred to you, that checks all the boxes with the Nine of Cups, all the wishes fulfilled, very passionate or inspiring, because of course in those kind of groups, or social groups, or any kind of groups, of course there's a lot of passion going on, and there's good chances of finding people that are passionate about whatever, and that might be exactly what you were looking for. So there's actually chances of romance, and let me see, and oh yes, and last of romance, but this is very nice kind of romance because of coupling. If this is for you and this happens for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or it happens in whatever sign you are. If you're dealing with something that has to do with like groups and humanitarian, be it in the internet, or be it that you go to a place and gather with other people, whatever the sense, there's good chances of you finding a kindred spirit, and that actually balancing energy between the Empress and the Emperor, of people that see each other as equals, of an emperor that is looking for an empress, a woman that is empowered, a woman that is passionate, that is not fearful to be who she is 100%, that she's a force of nature, and the emperor, because he's a mature man in the sense that he's an evolved spirit and he's got his ego under control, he finds that not as a threat, but exactly what the kind of person that he wants to build a kingdom with. So there's chances of that, especially that the full card also came from on this reading, which is new beginnings and new starts. And what stronger energy for two people to come together than, because they have very similar mentalities, very similar, or values, especially. Not only because the emperor has his way of doing things and the empress has her own way. It's not about that they have to be just the same, but they're actually equal, and they're complementary, and in absolute respect. And the emperor knows what are the things that the empress brings to the table that he lacks, and she knows that he brings to the table things that she lacks, and in between they become a very powerful couple. But what stronger energy than that to build a relationship? Because of course building relationships takes a lot of courage. To jumping in the water with someone, it has, if you fall in love once, you know how painful it is when it finishes, when it is done, when it no longer works. So of course that makes people feel very not wanting to start relationships. So usually the healthy relationships that can be formed are when people are in that empowered stage in their life, where they have their ego in control, and where they realize that value in another person they feel they complements them very well. And it is enough courage for the emperor to approach the queen or the empress, or the empress to let the emperor know he can come and try to pursue her, of course, in the rightful manner. I hope that was of help for you, Aquarius. Sure, for me it was quite entertaining. If you like a reading, you can write to me to my email address, which is in the description below. You can also DM me from Instagram. Of course, if you like this and you want to support the channel, you can like, share, subscribe, and what else? And I hope you the best for this September.